So, hello again. Last but not least, we have Stephane Roux. This is going to be our last presentation. We hope you've been enjoying the event and that you still have energy for a last conversation with Stephane. So, Stephane, the stage is all yours, and thank you very much for being here as your startup today.
Hi, thanks, Laura. So the topic of this talk is experiments in building a fearless culture. And before I jump into the content, I will briefly introduce who we are, Wonder, because probably no one has heard of us here in this audience. So we're a very, very young company. We were founded in June 2020 of this year. And here's basically a collage of pictures of the team and some stuff that we've been up to. We're currently 11 people, of which 10 are based in Berlin and the rest is remote. We only just of $11 million, which brings our total funding to $12.2 million. And we currently have 200,000 monthly users in November and expecting 400,000 to 500,000 in December. So as young as we are, I think lots of stuff has happened. And with the last funding round, we'll be able to enter a completely new stage of growth for the next year. Wonder itself is essentially a video conferencing platform for big groups. So this is a screenshot of how it works. It's browser-based. You have a little avatar, you drag yourself around, and if you get close to someone else, then a video chat opens. So it's a very natural way of interacting with other people. And in fact, if I'd known that you guys are using Hopin, Hopin is one of our competitors. So this kind of event could have been held in Wonder, where you have the little booth, have the little areas, and then there could be a breakout area for the presentations. What do our users say? Some recurring feedback that we get is people really like that it's very playful, it's very natural. We actually often hear the phrase, "It puts a smile on my face," and so I think it's all about an easy way of getting together online and really triggering personal connections and allowing the kind of magic to happen that happens when you get together with other people, which is often missing in virtual events. And these things are also really important to us, and I think it's what keeps us going, the constant flow of positive feedback from users. And those are things that we try to integrate into our company culture as well. People use it for all kinds of stuff. So currently there's a lot of stuff around Christmas markets, Christmas parties. A lot of the use cases are business use cases. So all hands meetings in companies, conferences, collaborative workshops, very, very broad. And that's also our positioning. So we don't specialize too much on particular use cases. We try to be an all-purpose tool that's, if you like, specialized on bringing people together online. That brings me to the actual topic of this presentation, and that's building a fearless culture. And I think there's kind of three questions to answer. What do we mean by a fearless culture? Why does it matter? And how do we go about building it? I think, what do we mean by a fearless culture? For us, a fearless culture is a place where people feel comfortable bringing their whole selves to work, where they expect that their feedback, their inputs, their suggestions, also their criticism, are viewed as contributions to our work and not as distractions, irrespective of whether they're junior, senior, whatever, whether you criticize the CEO. I think it also means that people see a lot of their work as experimentation and view failure as just a totally normal part of building the product. Why does it matter? I think that it's kind of an old quote, but there's this Steve Jobs quote that we don't hire smart people to tell them what to do, but so that they can tell us what to do. And that's really how we think about it. You've seen how big the team is. It's tiny. And the kind of challenges we have for the next year. And I think this will only work if everyone in the team sees themselves as an owner of this common project, and everyone brings their creativity and innovation to work on all the small problems that we have. Because if it was a bigger company, maybe we'd be able to say, hey, this is exactly what needs to be done. But it's not the case. There's too much uncertainty and too much innovation happening for not everyone to just be an innovator as well. And that, to some people, that sounds worrying, the kind of the lack of predictability. But actually, once you stop seeing experimentation as a risk, because it doesn't hurt if you fall, it starts actually being very exciting. Because what's the worst that can happen? You spend a few years with some really smart people working on exciting projects and trying lots of stuff. How do we build it? I think we don't really have the answers to that, and I think that's also where this presentation is called "Experiments in Building a Fearless Culture." We've tried a few things, and we obviously have our role models, and we read books on it, and we try to get input from other people. But at the end of the day, it's again a journey that we're all in together, and we do our best to make it happen. And so I will mention 3 things that we've kind of learned so far in terms of what works and what doesn't work for building a fearless culture. Number 1 is to make it into a common project. I think that's really important. So on the left, you see one thing that didn't work, and that was my first job ad, the first job ad I wrote. When you think about building a culture, at the very beginning, you think, you have all these great ideas and think, oh, it's so cool and it's going to look like this, but actually the real effect of what you're doing is just not right. It's not the same as what you were anticipating. And so you need to actually see this as a project where you get other people's help and you get their reflection in terms of what you're actually doing and what kind of culture you're building. So in this job ad, it's very nice to say female, male, diverse at the very beginning of the presentation, and think that that's kind of the thing to do to build an inclusive culture, or to make the job ad inclusive. But then if you see the first line, we're looking for a coder to build the world's best online meeting app. If you close your eyes, you probably think of a white guy sitting in his cellar coding away. And I very quickly got the feedback, luckily, from people in the team that it was really not a very inclusive app, but it was very stereotypically targeted towards a male audience. And so it's important to kind of get out of your own little worldview and get other people's view on it, and really reflect on whether the culture you're trying to build is actually the culture that you are building. And so a thing that we did kind of as a response a few weeks later that I think really worked well was that we just went on walks with everyone. So Palova and I, who by the way I think is here as well, took everyone individually for a walk to discuss with them what the team means to them, what kind of stuff they're excited about, what worries them, and so on. And it was a really, really interesting experience to see how people view the team culture. And there was lots of interesting insights, I think, that we didn't expect, some positive, some just unexpected, not that many negative ones, luckily, but it really helped to just listen to people without assuming too much, and getting an objective opinion in terms of how people felt the culture we're building actually looks like. And it also increases the buy-in of people if they feel that they're owners as well, if they feel listened to, if they feel they have an input. So I think that's the first thing, make it a common project. The second thing is over communicating. And maybe that's the case, what culture you're trying to, it doesn't matter what culture you're trying to build, that's always the case. But I think particularly if you want a culture where everyone feels they participate and feel safe to say something and to shape the direction of the company, it's especially important to over communicate. And I think I have that tendency, and a lot of other people have that too, to think other people know what you're up to and what you're thinking, whereas really they don't, especially if they're not founders, and so they don't have their fingers in every pie. And so one thing that didn't work is in the beginning, we were very excited about hiring lots of people, and we got great introductions, and when we were very little, there was no question about keeping people up to date, because we added like the 5th person. And so obviously we're all in a small office and everyone knows what's happening. But once we started hiring the 11th and 12th person, some people were surprised and were saying, oh, I didn't actually know we're hiring this role. And so it kind of feels a little bit weird that you suddenly have someone joining the team that you didn't know we were actually looking for. And we took that feedback to heart, and what we're now working on, and I hope that it will work, it's gathered a lot of excitement at least, is we're building an open culture guide, which you can see on the right, and it's basically a Notion page where everything that describes us, whether it's our mission, our funding, our office, how we do onboarding, how we run meetings and that kind of stuff, is written for everyone to see at any time. And so that helps not just people see where we stand on topics, And it also gives them the opportunity to give input into something. So if they say, I'm really passionate about onboarding and I think it doesn't work that well, then they can just see how we currently do it and get involved. And it also holds us accountable because we wrote it down somewhere and everyone can see it. So we now actually need to live up to it. We even decided to make it completely public so that externals can see it, because I think it helps when people join your team that they already know what they're getting into. Though it's not public yet, it's kind of still work in progress. So I think in summary, communicating around 3 times more than you would reasonably think is normal really helps, removes people's fear and worries about the kind of team that they're in and the direction of the culture. The third one is having faith in people and giving them ownership. And I think for this one, there's so many examples that it's not even worth like mentioning anyone's in particular, but it's very, very easy, I think, as a team grows, and this is not just the founders, but I think everyone else, to be worried when people take over your work and be overly protective and try to jump in whenever you see a problem, even if it's a perceived problem, because often it's actually not the case. People do your job better than you when you start growing the team. And so in order for people to really feel that they can experiment and that they can improve and find their own kind of working style, I think it's important that they don't feel someone's breathing down their neck and something goes wrong and then people immediately jump in and kind of help them out. It's often better to let them fail and let them fail multiple times even. I mean, you should obviously, kind of like the guy in the picture on the right, be waiting for them and helping them and even encouraging them and asking them whether they need help, but not immediately jumping in when something goes wrong, but rather kind of observing it, offering help and letting people fail a few times and letting them think about their own successes and failures and develop their own working style. So that's the third thing, having faith in people and giving them ownership. And this brings me to the kind of the last point. I don't know whether it's actually anyone's quote. I think I heard it somewhere, but the 99% of the creative work will be done by the team rather than by you. And that's certainly true for a growing team. And I think it's almost a comforting thought because it puts a lot of pressure off you as an individual. And it refocuses you a little bit to say, if you want to have a culture where people feel empowered to do work, then your task is not to do the work itself and increase, go from 99.9 to 99.8 and have a little bit more input, but rather to create the conditions where people feel safe to experiment and feel safe to be creative and can work at their best and bring their whole selves to work. And in our case, I think actually most of the work will be done by people who are not even yet part of the team. So it's almost a philosophical notion that out there somewhere in the world is our team, and it's the team that will build the future wonder, not just the kind of stuff that we built so far. And the way we see our mission as the core team is to find the people who will be doing the creative work and to convince them to obviously work for us, and then to create the right environment for them where they can flourish, where they can feel safe, and where they can bring their best selves to work. I was in the 15 minutes. Obviously, we're hiring across basically all product roles. So data science, engineering, product owners, and different levels of seniority. I think generally because we're a very small team, we focus on hiring seniors at the moment, just because we don't know how to do stuff ourselves in every respect. So for the very first hire, it's helpful to have someone more experienced. But as the month pass, we will be hiring more junior roles as well. So if you're interested and if you enjoy the product, I also recommend you check out the product, by the way. If you enjoy the product, then reach out to Paulova or to me. Yeah, we'd love to talk. And thanks, that's it.
Thank you, Stephane, for the talk. For the next event, we'll be using Wonder, I swear.
Thank you.
We didn't know, that's why. But now we know you, and you are here, part of the event, so you know. And also like very much the guide of for your company that you have a Notion, already put it on my 2021 to do one for ourselves. So yeah. Yeah, is there any question on the audience? People are liking the product and the presentation. Yeah, someone say, yeah, use Wonder for an event yesterday. Amazing, given the fact that you just started a couple of months ago. Congrats. Yeah, that's.
Thanks.
Is there any question in the audience? Yeah, well, they say thanks for your talk, very important points. Well, maybe there are no questions, but people definitely like the company and the product, and I think everyone is going to test and use.
Yeah, obviously we'd love to have you as users as well, not just for the team. It's free, by the way.
Everything. Okay. Well, you have a question. If you are based on Berlin but have remote employees for the future, are you looking for in Berlin or also remote?
We're open to remote. It depends a little bit on the role. I think for engineers, we're open to a completely remote setting, as long as the time zone is kind of +/-6.
Claro.
So I think it's kind of between New York and India is fine. At least for the beginning, we need to ease our way into it as well. For roles that require a little bit more coordination, like if you're a product owner, or if it was a business role, then we would expect people to be able to be in the office maybe like 1 day a week, so that they can have touch points with everyone. So if it's somewhere in Europe, that's usually fine because people can be flown in and kind of stay in the office, whatever, like once a month or for a longer stretch or a little bit more regularly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Luz was the one asking this. She lives in Barcelona. I know her, so.
Nice. Yeah, why would you move out of Barcelona?
Perfect. Well, you have someone from India as well. Okay, if there are no more questions, I think we are gonna leave the conversation with Stephane here. Yeah, someone is sharing the website.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, okay. So, well, I think, yeah, I think I'm gonna say goodbye together with you, Stephane. What do you think? And I'm gonna thank, well, everyone that joined the event today since 3:30 p.m. So that's been a lot of hours. I think we went through many different conversations, different technologies, different approaches, international, local, bigger, smaller companies. I think it's been a great event. I hope you all enjoy and learn and chat with the companies at the expo part and do some networking. We're gonna be sharing all the videos of the talks online and on our YouTube channel, and we'll be sharing with the speakers. So we're all gonna be in touch. And yes, now we have a bit of networking still until 9 p.m. So I invite you all to just go to the networking area and just randomly, start chatting with you find there. So, well, thank you very much. Thank you, Stephane. You've been
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you all and see you real soon. Thank you very much.